Hello, everybody. Welcome into Bills Weekly here on FingerLakes1.com. I am Paul Russo, joined by Jim Senecropi, and back Kyle Evans. Kyle, good to see you in studio this week. We're here to discuss and recap the Bills' loss last night on Sunday Night Football to the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll also preview the weekend ahead as we look to Monday Night Football against the Denver Broncos. But first, quick thank you to our sponsor for today's podcast, Littlejohn and Barbie Orthodontics. Dr. Littlejohn, Dr. Barbie, and their outstanding orthodontic team share a common goal to ensure the overall wellness of each of their patients through their exceptional orthodontic care. You can check out Dr. Odd and Dr. Liz online at littlejohnortho.com. Last night was not fun. Wasn't pleasant.
No, the Bills are, if the season ended today, the Bills would be the 9th seed. That means they wouldn't be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Crazy.
And before the season, this team was projected to be among the top Super Bowl favorites. And the offense was supposed to be one of the best in the league. And it sure has looked the complete opposite on both ends.
Yeah, and, I think that we were talking last week that we probably thought the Bengals would win this game in Cincinnati.
Yep.
But if they won, maybe a 31-28 shootout, might feel a little better about it. But, my goodness, the Bills' offense was horrible.
Yeah.
They scored the first touchdown of the game, and they didn't score another touchdown until, inside 3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, they opened the game. They went 82 yards on 7 plays. And then the next 4 drives, they had 2 punts, and Josh Allen threw that awful interception down the sideline, trying to hit Gabe Davis. And just ever since that interception, it seemed like the offense was out of sync, same old, slow. They didn't do the no huddle, the up-tempo like they did against Tampa Bay, which shocked me. I didn't understand why. And then after the game, when they asked Sean McDermott about it, he says he doesn't, quote, he doesn't have a good answer for why the team didn't go up-tempo. You're the head coach.
Yeah.
And the players were mentioning why they didn't, play a quicker game, go up tempo like they were against Tampa Bay. Josh Allen said it was just the game plan that we had going into the game. So why wouldn't you make adjustments?
So after barely beating Tampa Bay, that was on a Thursday Night Football. So the Bills had 4 extra days to prepare for Cincinnati. Now, the offensive output was embarrassing enough, but the Bengals are the 27th ranked total defense. 27 out of 32 teams total defense so far through the first 8 weeks of the season. The Bengals, 21st in passing, 28th against the rush. The Bills ran the ball 6 times yesterday. 17th in scoring, 24th in third down. The Bengals defense, although I will admit that they've been playing better of late, against San Francisco and now Buffalo, but this was not an elite defense that shut down the Bills' offense and held them to 18 points.
The Arizona Cardinals scored more points against them than the Bills did. They had 20. I get it. It's only 2 more, but it's the Cardinals. The Cardinals' offense and the Bills' offense shouldn't be on the same level.
Yeah. And the Bills didn't, they scored 18 points, but that happened in the first 3 minutes of the game and the last 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, they love scoring in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the second half of the first quarter, the entire second quarter, the entire third quarter, and the bulk of the fourth quarter, they did nothing. It's alarming and shocking, and now Bills fans have to come to the realization that they might not make the playoffs, that they're not Super Bowl contenders, right?
Yep.
And the toughest part of the schedule is ahead of them.
Yeah, I believe they have the 4th hardest schedule in terms of the opponents' records coming up. Obviously, we know they have the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Chiefs, Dolphins, even the Patriots. The Patriots beat them, so I think it's worth mentioning.
Chargers on the road in Miami.
Yep. The Broncos beat the Chiefs, so you never know what
can happen.
They
got the Jets again, who beat the Bills.
Yep.
A Jets team that
At the Eagles?
could, a Jets team that could, depending on what happens tonight, be ahead of the Bills in the standings too at this point.
Yeah, if the Jets win, Bills are in 3rd place in the AFC East.
Insane.
This also, something that I don't think it's talked about enough. I know we haven't, But the Bills are 1-3 now on the road this year. That's just not. It's not good, especially. Look ahead a little bit, right? You talk about they're 9th right now in the standings, but say they do get to a playoff spot at this point,
They're
going to be fighting for on the road the whole time now, And I don't know. I don't know if there's a light at the end of the tunnel for them in that sense or what, but yeah.
Can I return home?
Yes, correct.
For the Broncos on Monday Night Football, so they get another longer week. And then they get the Jets at home. So those next 2 weeks could right the ship with 2 wins. I think that they would be back in the right side of the playoff bubble. But then they got to go on the road to Philadelphia. And then on the road after the week 13 bye to the Chiefs, and then they host the Cowboys. So the next 2 weeks, Broncos and Jets, both at Highmark, are absolute must-wins.
Yeah. Going into that bye week too, which, I mean, I know it's 3 weeks away, but that's a long 3 weeks to be looking at right now, just given what could potentially just be on the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what to say much about that offense that, you guys haven't said, and also what we just haven't said really the past who knows how long,
We should be here talking about how, man, the Bills are so beat up on defense. It's like a practice squad out there. The offense is keeping them in games, though.
Yeah.
But no, the defense has been fine, even with all the losses. And the offense can't put up more than 18 points.
Yeah.
This banged-up defense gave up just 3 points in the second half. We were at a point where Josh Norman was playing cornerback last night, and they still gave the offense a chance, and the offense never could take advantage of it.
They held Jamar Chase to, 41
41
yards?
yards.
I mean, geez.
I get it. T. Higgins had a big game, but did he find the end zone? No. I think the defense did a pretty incredible job considering the injuries they had.
Yeah, absolutely. And they had more injuries last night.
Yep. Yeah, they lost
Bernard,
and he was actually their second starter to start the year with Matt Milano. So now you're on your third and fourth string, Dorian Williams and Tyrell Dotson, who both clearly struggled, but they obviously adjusted enough to only give up 3 points in the second half. So that's why I don't fault the defense at all in this game.
So, is it Ken Dorsey's fault? I mean, he's in charge of the offense, right?
Yeah, how about the fact that Gabe Davis had 2 targets? Is that Josh Allen just not seeing him open, or was he not getting open, or is that Ken Dorsey's just play calling? I mean, I guess that's
He's
something.
out there on the field.
Yeah, Gabe Davis played 94% of the snaps and had
0
2 targets
receptions.
and no catches.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll save on the defense for a second here so we can continue on the offensive front. But for the second time in 3 weeks too, Josh Allen was the leading rusher for the Bills as well.
And most of it came in the fourth quarter when they actually allowed him to run the ball.
Yeah, so
It's like handcuffed for the first 3 quarters.
I don't know what's kind of going on there, but James Cook, the past few weeks has appeared to take some sort of backseat role in a way. I know, we mentioned last week when Fournette was signed to the practice squad a little bit about how, we're kind of wondering what that role is going to be like. And then, afterwards, Kyle, me and you were talking, Latavius Murray's technically started the game for Buffalo too the past few weeks as well, as opposed to James Cook. So I don't know what's going on there. It does make you wonder really about the Ken Dorsey decision-making process, I think. I don't know another way to kind of put it, frankly. I mean, for a guy who, his accolades coming into the coaching world, right, was this really good college quarterback, serviceable backup for a moment in the NFL, to this quote-unquote rising star through the coaching ranks to get to where he is and all of a sudden kind of just be, I guess, maybe at best flatlining average. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about Ken Dorsey as a whole is inconsistency in play calling. I mean, I get it, they only scored 24 on the Buccaneers, but you could just notice the difference in back-to-back games. They came out firing. Last night, they drove right down the field, scored on the opening possession, and then the offense just looked completely different. It's like hard to believe that an offense can look that great and then that bad. And then finally they pick things up in the fourth quarter when they're moving quick.
Yeah, I agree that the Bills are best when they operate quickly. Penalties too yesterday, right?
Yep.
like untimely penalties, including that was kind of unfortunate, the intentional grounding call when him and Davis got messed up on the route. Davis stopped short. Allen thought he was going long, and that might have cost him 3 points. But the Bills of the old, man, you give them 45 seconds, they're down the field, in the red zone, scoring a touchdown. Those types of things aren't happening.
Yeah. I don't know. There is one positive on offense, again this week. Well, there's one, to me anyway. It's the fact that Dalton Kincaid had another major week being a major piece in this offense.
He is progressing. He had a huge fumble, but...
Well, tough when you're flying through the air like he was, I guess,
upside down.
in a way. Yeah,
I didn't know the ball got
don't
punched
know.
out until I saw the replay, so I give him a little bit of a break. But, yeah, I mean, he led the team with 11 targets.
Yeah.
I think, obviously I don't root for injuries, but I think the best thing to happen for him was Dawson Knox going down with an injury because he's on the field now all the time, and you can see the player that he can be for this team, and hopefully he continues to pick up. Diggs only had 7 targets, so that's usually rare. He usually has 10 or more in every game this year.
I think the over and under for Diggs' receptions was 8.5 before the game. He only got targeted 7 times.
Yeah, he only had 2 catches in the first half.
Yeah.
Apparently, on the way to his locker room, a Bengals TV reporter caught him saying that he's not even effing sweating. There's a thing going around Twitter.
Well, he still should be blocking and stuff out there.
Yeah.
He should be still sweating.
Yep.
I'm not willing to give the defense a complete off the hook this week, though.
Oh.
I'm not. And I don't know. Look, I said this to Kyle, so he heard it a little bit. But Jim, I'm intrigued to hear for your opinion on this. For me, I don't know if I just met a breaking point this week, maybe with defenses as a whole. But like the Bills last night, were just doing a ton of arm tackling.
Oh, the tackling
and
was horrible at
just
times. Yeah.
They couldn't. Second half wasn't as bad, but like they were giving up a lot of just big plays. It seemed like last night.
There were times when it looked like they could wrap up a ball carrier before either the end zone or the first down marker, and they just missed the tackle.
Yeah.
I saw multiple times.
And they're not getting the pressure they need to get on these quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Burrow was only sacked 1 time. And if you look at Von Miller, he had that huge missed tackle on 3rd and 3 that would have, the Bills probably still would have lost, but would have gave the Bills the ball back last night, late in that game, and missed the tackle. Von Miller had no tackles last night. I wanted to bring him up, too, because, again, he's not increasing his snap counts. He only played 24 snaps, and 3 of them were on kneel down. So he played 21 snaps in this game against this Bengals team that you need to beat. Yeah. If he's back, I mean, what is this, week 5 since he's been off IR?
And the linebacker corps are already...
Yeah, they're already banged up, and he's not, like, I just don't understand what they're doing with him. And they're paying him all this money, and he played 20 snaps against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
A good point.
I don't know. There was one play... It might have been the Terrell Bernard play where he got knocked out of the game when he got, I'm assuming, concussed. I don't think they officially ruled that quite yet, but he didn't make it around the edge, but Burrow just got rid of it so quick that like it didn't even make a difference. And look, you get older in the NFL or any sport, but especially a game like football, you come off the edge. Obviously, you lose a step or two here and there, but kind of like he got around the edge, ball's already gone. He didn't really bother either kind of taking it upfield either at that point. Like, it was kind of weird. Like, I don't know, the Von Miller of old, like, think about his peak at Denver, would have been finding a way to go back to the ball somehow.
Yeah, he must.
I don't know.
The combination of age and maybe still not being 100%. It's a pretty serious injury.
I'd lean on the latter a little bit. I'm kind of with you there. I don't know if he's fully back yet, and I imagine at this point, in theory, they probably don't have a snap count on him anymore, right? Like,
well, I mean,
don't
he
know.
played 24 snaps. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So clearly they're taking him off the field when they feel that he shouldn't be on the field. But then, like, remember in the first, 8 weeks or whatever, we were talking about Leonard Floyd having a huge impact, Greg Russo, Ed Oliver. Like, where is all the pressure gone? Like I said, they had 1 sack last night. Other guys need to be jumping around the edge and getting pressure, even if Von Miller isn't, back to where he needs to be.
I know.
So this defense,
Rousseau, I know, had a couple tip passes last night at the line.
Yeah, it just seems like Burrow had a lot of time, and then when he needed to run, he went right up the middle, and it was wide open. The middle linebackers were playing way back in the coverage.
It's tough. It's tough though for us. Honestly, we're making good points here, but it wasn't the defense. I mean, that wasn't the problem last night.
100%.
And if you look at if you took preseason Super Bowl contenders, you probably would say the 49ers and the Eagles, and then you would say the Chiefs, the Bengals, maybe the Lions, maybe the Cowboys. Of course, when Aaron Rodgers was on the Jets, but that doesn't count because he's not there anymore.
Played 5 minutes.
Maybe the Dolphins. But of all those teams I just mentioned, all of them except for maybe the Jets, the Bills are at the bottom of that list right now halfway through the season. Even the Bengals, who started out 1-3,
Yeah, they won 4 in a row now.
Yeah, are now in better position in the AFC than the Bills. So it's very concerning. It's a little bit baffling because the offensive pieces are all still in place.
Yep. I was saying, the offensive line, could it be maybe a hair better? Yeah, but they're giving Josh, for the most part, a lot of time to still kind of allow something to happen, too.
Did you
That's
see
the one
stat
thing I
that popped
noticed
up
last night.
on NBC? The Bills are one of 4 teams to have the same offensive line through the first 9 games this year.
And that's,
Pretty rare, I would say, because it's only 4 teams. So, I agree with you. The offensive line could have been better, but at least the same guys are out there, and there's no injuries.
I didn't mean to make it sound negative. I think they're giving them, for the most part, more than enough time to try and do something.
Yeah, Spencer Brown had a tough hold, but other than that, I think he was pretty decent.
Yeah.
So, if you have to look at it, I do have to put the blame on Dorsey and then also McDermott. It's coaching, it's play calling, it's scheme overall, approach. And we've talked about it before, how Allen isn't running as much. Maybe you just got to cut him loose.
Yeah, just let him go back to playing the football that he wants to play.
Yeah.
Look at all the previous years, how much success this offense has had when he just goes and plays.
Yeah.
And if he needs to run, let him run. You can still run out of bounds. We've talked about this. And that's why in the fourth quarter we see the difference in this team, because they need to hurry. They need to run plays. They don't have time to sit there in a huddle and make up a play. Just go out, snap the ball, and go.
Yep.
And
let your best player, Josh Allen, use his abilities.
Yep.
Instead of trying to either protect him from injury or, it's...
Sometimes he stands in the pocket too long and tries to force throws down the field because he's told not to run. Yeah. So his head's in a different spot. And, I just think you need to let him play free, more free.
Do you guys think his shoulder's still bugging him a little bit?
Probably.
I kind of was thinking about that yesterday, watching him play a little bit.
I would say yes, but, that's the NFL for you. Nobody halfway through the season is really at 100% anymore. So, look at Burrow. He's coming off his knee injury, right? Or his hamstring. What was it? What was his injury?
Calf
injury early in the season. So I'm sure he seems to be over that, but I'm sure he's not a full 100%. But then also last night, wasn't he on the sideline with his finger bleeding?
Yeah, he was looking like Trevor Bauer out there. He's bleeding from the nail.
So, you get banged up, you play through it. That defines good NFL players, the ability to play through these injuries.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things I just was kind of thinking about, because obviously it's something that was an issue at the end of the year last year, was that shoulder. And start of the year, he wasn't exactly keeping the thing not prone to be getting smacked around every now and then, so...
The crazy part of this all is, I get it, the offense is an issue, but you look at the stats, and Josh Allen's second in the league still in passing touchdowns behind Tua. He has 18, Tua has 19.
One reason, though, is because the Bills don't run the ball ever.
Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah. Where Miami, Mostert's running the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
So.
And, even teams like Detroit, they're getting rushing touchdowns, even though they're passing offense. I don't know, man.
I think Josh still leads in completion percentage too, but I get it. The offense is still a problem.
So,
One of those things that we have to figure out, I guess, here as season gets along because, hey, we're halfway home now.
yep.
It's kind of crazy to think about, but
Well, it's getting cold outside, so
Yeah.
it'll be. I can remember when the Super Bowl used to be like in January. It's probably before your guys' time, but man, they stretch it out so far now. So, but we are getting there. Thanksgiving's 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah.
And then after that, you really are in the home stretch, and then the playoffs start January.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at a little bit of the future then, shall we? Week 10 coming up. Broncos at the Bills. Monday Night Football.
How are
Yeah.
they picking some of these games?
I think we're still in the part of the preseason selection process of we can't flex yet.
They're not
so-
flexing, yeah. Although,
yeah.
I'd be concerned if I was the Bills. Next Monday night, Broncos coming off a
Bye week.
bye week. They've been playing better.
Wait, didn't they beat the Chiefs and then they went on their bye?
Yeah.
So now they're like really like they have all the momentum, the confidence.
Yep. That's a tough task though to come to Buffalo and play in Highmark on Monday Night Football. But again,
Buccaneers kept it close.
yeah, and
I know it's a Thursday night, but still prime time.
same thing. And again, I said this before. They almost lost to Tampa Bay. They were a Hail Mary away.
If Chris Godwin turns around, that might be
They
called.
almost lost to the Giants when this amazing Bills offense put up 14 points against the Giants.
They could seriously be 3-6 right now,
Yeah.
which would be tied with the Chargers, Titans, Broncos. Obviously, the Chargers will play tonight and could get their fourth win, but that's where they would stand if they didn't get a couple lucky breaks. I guess good teams get breaks. I don't know
Yeah.
where the Bills stand in that level.
The Tampa Bay would have been a big break for Tampa Bay if they got that Hail Mary, but the Bills let them get into position. We're talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks. They lost to Atlanta yesterday. Was it Atlanta that beat them yesterday?
Bucks had the Texans.
Oh yeah, the
that
Texans
shootout.
beat them late in 30-30.
Josh Dobbs decided to go his Tennessee ways from back in the day to beat Atlanta at the
Yeah,
end.
and from Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just not the team that we thought they would be. Now, I'm going to give you. I was going to save this for the end of the show, but I will. We are getting towards the end of the show, I'm sure here, but I'm going to give everybody some hope for Bills fans out there. If you remember, a couple years ago, 2021, the Bills had a tough stretch midseason. They lost 4 or 6 games. They were 7-6. And on the outside looking in, not unlike they are now, then they rattled off 4 straight wins, got into the playoff, and made that run. And during that stretch, that's when they became this team that we thought could win the Super Bowl. So we'll forget all about this stuff that's happened if they can put it together and string together some wins. And so that's why you got to beat the Broncos and the Jets at home, and then you go on the road to face Philadelphia, and that could be the game that gets them back over the hump. Go ahead and into their bye week. Or you split with the Broncos and Jets, which is a possibility. You lose to the Eagles, you go into the bye week, and you're almost done.
Yeah.
Is it weird? I almost would rather have that be the case, though, because then you come out of the bye week and you have the nothing to lose mentality.
Yeah, I'd rather have them win 3 in a row heading into the bye week.
Well, no, I don't disagree, right? But, like, if it does happen, like, it's kind of like, well, we just have nothing to lose. You guys just go out there and play banshee ball almost,
That's kind of what they should be. That should be their. Well, I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs seem to take care of. They lost to the Broncos, but then they bounced back and beat Miami. The AFC East just isn't maybe as good as we thought it was either. But again, the Bills are in third. Could be in third place if the Jets win tonight.
How about the AFC North? Every single team would be in the playoffs if it were to end today.
You would have thought that would be more likely for the AFC East.
The Browns, Steelers, and Bengals now have as many wins as the Bills. Pretty crazy, especially the Browns, I would say, because they lost Chubb and Deshaun
their
Watson was out.
starting quarterback.
Yep. But yeah, the Jets, Texans, Colts, Raiders all have 4 wins. Obviously, one behind the Bills. So I don't know. I just think the AFC is kind of crazy this year. There's so many teams with the same amount of wins, if not right behind. Obviously, the Titans, Broncos, and Patriots would be at the bottom, but these other teams really still have a shot with the way this AFC is going this year. Like the Texans are 4-4. I mean, they could turn the corner and start getting over 500. The Colts, Gardner Minshew hasn't been bad. Jonathan Taylor's picking it up other than the second half.
They've been on the wrong side of a couple close ones too. Otherwise, it could be a better situation. So yeah, there is no, you got the Giants, maybe the Redskins, and the Patriots. There's not really that many like horrible teams right now. I mean, just when you think the Raiders are going to be or the Bears are going to be, they come back and like have a great win. So the league is crazy. The Bills just aren't where we hoped they'd be. They're not in control anymore. They need to do something spectacular in the second half of the season to get there. So it's not this. Look, we're right in the heart of it. So, am I going to say that the Bills aren't Super Bowl contenders anymore? No, they just have a lot of work to do. They got to be willing to take a different approach, I think.
I'm going to steal your line from another podcast, Jim. Any given Sunday.
That's me, or was that Al Pacino?
Well, it's from the It's from there, but then you adopted it for the betting preview, and it's holding on true here. It just hey, the AFC is wide open. Borderline think the NFC is wide open too at this point. So.
Yeah, I agree. Now, just to get off the Bills for a second. One of the best games yesterday was the Eagles and the Cowboys, and so the Cowboys come into Philadelphia, and almost if Dak Prescott doesn't step on the sideline going for that 2-point conversion, or if he throws the ball a little deeper, maybe the Cowboys beat the Eagles. It's just such a fine line in the NFL, but the best teams win those games. You're going to always have close games in the NFL, and the difference between the best teams and the mediocre teams and the worst teams are that the best teams find a way to win.
Like the Chiefs, their offense hasn't been the same, and you look, and what are they, 7-1 now?
Yeah. And so let's look at that. So, we want to think Josh Allen, is on par with Patrick Mahomes and everything.
7-2, sorry.
But then look at everybody else on that Chiefs offense. Like, they don't have Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
Pacquiao, James Cook. I mean, it's not like the Chiefs are stacked. They have Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes.
And Kelce had 2 catches for 7 yards.
Yeah.
And they didn't score in the second half yesterday. So, I mean.
But they're 7-1.
Yep. 7-2. I
7-2.
messed up. Yeah.
Oh, they lost to the Broncos.
Yeah, I forgot. It should be 8-1.
Yeah.
But anything happens in this league.
Yep. And that's good news for Bills fans, I think, at least at this point.
Definitely. So, Monday night, the all too early predictions, especially as, we're talking right here a week away from,
We all got
over a week away from
pretty
kickoff.
good last week.
Yeah.
We all picked the Bengals.
Right.
Yep.
But the Bills currently sit as a 7.5-point favorite, over under of 46.5. Current forecast 43 degrees and cloudy. But again, we're talking literally, technically over a week away from kickoff, even from there. So who knows how everything might shift before then and now, and everything else in between as injury reports come out and McDermott has to talk still. That's 2 hours away still at least. So who knows what might happen between now and then. But we all know about who the Broncos have and pretty much what they are at this point. No sense in giving you the rundown, but obviously a Broncos team that shown it can be plucky at times this year, at worst, and or at best, I guess, rather. And I certainly don't think the Bills can. We've said it, a couple different times on here, but Bills can't take them lightly next week.
No, I can't take anybody lightly. But I don't know what to think about this one. I would liken it to like when the Bills played the Raiders and they won 38-10.
Right.
That's the type of outcome that I think should happen when they play the Broncos in Buffalo. But I have a feeling it's going to be more like that Tampa Bay game. It's going to be a one possession game late. Look, they were one possession game late against the Bengals, one possession game late against Tampa Bay, lost to the Patriots in a one possession game late, one possession game against the Giants, one possession game against the Jags. So their past 5 games have been one possession games. one-score games, whether they won or lost. So I don't know why this game against the Broncos should be any different, especially with the Broncos getting the extra week of rest and the Bills' defense being all beat up. Like I said, the Bengals defense was able to keep the Bills' offense in check. So I think Denver's offense should be able to as well.
Yeah, Denver's defense held KC to 19 points the first matchup and 9 the second. And then they held Green Bay to 17. So 3 straight weeks, Broncos' defense has been pretty good. And with the way the Bills' offense has been, similar to how the Chiefs have kind of struggled at times, Broncos can win this game, seriously.
Yeah, and that would be DEFCON 5 for the Bills Nation, right? Bills Mafia.
Yeah, 70,000 fans leaving that stadium that night.
On Monday night, having to go to work the next day.
Falling to 5-5, further out of the playoff picture probably.
Thoughts and prayers for the folks who let people park in their yards. I do say this, though. This is the 32nd ranked Broncos defense, though, in the league.
Even worse than the Bengals, 27th ranked.
Yeah.
Just playing better against the last 3 weeks.
The Broncos allow over 400 yards of total offense. That defense is bad. Now they have had moments the past few weeks. There's no disputing that, but I mean they certainly have a lot of glaring issues.
On paper, the Bills should.
Well, what did we say about the Bengals defense earlier?
It's a good point.
And then look at what the Bills did last night. So I don't know. I feel like this year the numbers really don't mean anything. Like I mean, all right, let me rephrase it. The numbers mean stuff, but like, look at the Niners. They lost to the Browns. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Like, just look at some of the games. Like, Patrick Mahomes had under 200 yards passing against the Broncos.
To be fair, Jim did think that the Browns would beat the 49ers, kind of.
Well, yeah. Okay, but you get my point.
He spoke it into the ether.
So look, if I'm Ken Dorsey here, I'm Buffalo Bills coaching staff, and I'm sitting down this week thinking about what we've done so far and what we need to do going forward. I think they need to commit to the run. You can't run 8 running plays from scrimmage in a football game because now the opposing defense knows you're going to pass. So, and what are the options if they're passing? They're going to throw it either to Diggs, Davis, or Kincaid, or Shakir. I mean, it's easy to defend. You got to have some kind of running game. So I would make a point when they come out against Denver on Monday night to at least for the first half commit to the run. Run the ball 12 to 14 times in that first half to Cook or Murray or maybe even Fournette. Run it up the middle, run it to the outside, maybe run a screen pass, but commit to it. Even if it's not working right away, and then move faster. The run game would be even more effective if they're moving quickly. So they run it up the middle. Now 15 seconds later they're snapping the ball again and they're throwing it out to the flat. Now they're up to the line. Draw play up the middle. Whatever. Just let's move it. Let's move it. That's how this team operates, and it's most efficient over the past few years is when they're moving quickly. So run the ball more and move and play more quickly.
And run more screenplays. I feel like with James Cook in the backfield, he's a perfect guy for more screenplays. And then you see they tried to run that trick play last night.
Yeah.
And Josh had to throw it away. Kincaid was double covered downfield. But see, they don't do those type of plays more. I think that was the first time all year we've seen something like that with that team. So I just think they need to be more creative on offense. It's just the same boring, you-know-what's-coming offense.
Right, and that's what the Bengals last night, they just sat back and were like, okay, we're going to try to get pressure on Allen with our front four, and other than that, we're going to just sit back and defend these receivers, and it was easy.
Yep, and the Bills are huddling to draw up a play, and the Bengals are happy. They're like, wow, we get a breather.
Yeah, yep.
They just don't move quick. It's weird.
I know just a guy who enjoys bubble screens, so Dino Babers, come on down. Anyway.
Well, that's another story because when Babers came to Syracuse, they're going to be the fastest show on turf. And now that's a thing of the past. They don't try to move fast in Syracuse. And part of me can't blame Babers because when Syracuse was having their most success, everybody would seem to get a cramp. And, the officials or the, rules makers allow that to happen. It's kind of crap. I mean, this is going back 5-6 years ago. when the Syracuse was trying to run fast and somebody would get a cramp. They'd be in the game against a Clemson or a Florida State and rushing down the field and somebody would get a cramp. And, there's no repercussions for it. So, but that's total digression. The Bills can move faster.
I miss Eric.
Nobody's getting cramps. They don't do that in the NFL, by the way, too. You
No.
don't see guys faking getting cramps because they need a rest of their defense.
Yeah.
If they do, you might get a penalty for delay a game.
I'll go first here. I don't mind doing that this week. I think the Bills do get back on track this week. I'll go ahead and be the one out on, I guess, the limb first if anybody's going to follow. But Bills 30, Broncos 20 is what I'm thinking. I think, I don't think all the points come from offense. I think we get a defensive score here somewhere along the line. It's been a few weeks for the Bills since that's happened, so I'm going to go that way. I just think if there's going to be a time for them to look, frankly, it's beyond get it right. But I think if there's a time for whether it's Ken Dorsey job saving to the season itself being saved, it's got to be in the here and now. I think Monday night on the biggest stage in the NFL, broadcast-wise, of the regular season, I think they realize that. I think they get it done. I do not think 70,000 people will leave Highmark Stadium depressed and destroying those poor people's yards in the parking lots on the way out. So I'll go 30-20, Bills over the Broncos.
Look at the primetime games for the Bills so far this year. They lost to the Jets, right? And then another primetime game would have been the Giants.
Yep.
And then the Bucs was a prime time.
Bucs on Thursday night, now the Bengals. So they're 2-2 on primetime this year, and all of them have been one-possession games. And all of them, except for this Bengals game, the Bills were heavily favored. So they're going to be heavily favored again when the Broncos come to town Monday night. And I do think the Bills will get the victory. But I don't have faith that the offense is going to snap out of it. They had that stretch of weeks 2, 3, and 4 where they scored 38, 37, and 48 points. Other than that, geez, they haven't broken 30. So my prediction is Bills win 25-17. Keep it a one-possession game.
Our numbers are usually pretty similar. I'm going to say, this is crazy, I know, Bills 20, Broncos 17. So it's going to come down to the wire. Who knows, maybe another final play at the goal line.
Yeah, that is realistic.
Well, actually, they would just kick the field goal and tie the game to go to overtime if it was a three-point game. But, yeah, you get my point. Might come down to the final play or something.
We're looking at this in a realistic manner based on the evidence that we've seen so far. If you don't want to look at the evidence or look at anything that the Bills have done on the field, then sure, let's say the Bills are going to win, 38-2.
Yeah, I might take Broncos plus 6.5, honestly. Right now, if we were doing it. But obviously the lines are going to change, no doubt about it. Like before last night's game started, it was Bills plus 1.5 instead of 2.5.
Right, the lines always shift.
Yeah, but yeah, right now I think the Broncos are playing this game close.
Yep, I'd have to agree just based on evidence. We thought that they were going to kill Tampa Bay. We thought they were going to kill the Patriots. We thought they were going to beat up on the Giants. None of that happened. So why would they beat up on the Broncos, who are coming off a bye week? So, but we'll see. We'll be back here on Tuesday to talk about it, right?
Yeah, Tuesday at 2 p.m. How about that? Our first non-Monday. No, second non-Monday. I lied. Our first one was on a Tuesday.
Yeah, that Jets loss week 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Overtime loss.
Oh boy, we're
Still unbelievable.
The Bills are 0-1 on Tuesday editions of the pod, so that can't be good.
No,
Numbers
I
never
think they'll get the win this week, but I don't think it'll be as pretty as we'd like it to be.
Yeah. Well, here's to hopefully being a beautiful win, or just a win nonetheless. How about that?
Yeah, and let's hope that the Chargers beat the Jets this week so the Bills don't drop to third place.
If not, go be an awkward podcast to come into next week, no matter what, I'd say. So, either way, so appreciate everybody for listening and watching. You can find Bills Weekly here on FingerLakes1.com, the F1 YouTube channel, and all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Amazon Music. We'll be back next Tuesday because of Monday Night Football. Until then, enjoy the week, everybody, and let's go Buffalo.